Sergio Marquez.
And this is Play Action, episode, I believe, 8.
Yeah.
We're episode 8 now.
Yep. Week 11 of the NFL season.
Doing it a little early.
5-6 more weeks left, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Usually we do the show on a Tuesday, but today we decided to switch it up a little bit. Let's do it on a Sunday.
Yep. Change it up a little bit.
Before we go into the show, I want to say, last time we did it on Facebook. If you want to see our Facebook show, you go on Tyrese Simon, and you can see our live Facebook thing, which went pretty well.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we may do some more Facebook, or maybe switch up on different platforms as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's a little different this time. You're doing it during the game now, during the Rams Bears game. So comment on that as it goes on.
Yeah. So, Sergio, about the rest of the games.
Yes.
How do you feel about this Sunday's game?
Actually, for majority of it, obviously it didn't end as well. But I thought there was gonna be a lot of upsets this week. I mean, coming with the Broncos, they were up 20. Going into halftime, I was kind of expect that game was just a wild time. The Falcons winning was a little weird to me. There were just so many games this week that halfway through the game at halftime, you're like, oh man, this might be an upset. Oh man, who would expect this team to be playing this well?
And some were upsets.
But even the ones that weren't upsets, it was good to see that there's just good football all week. There was maybe one or two blowouts, but overall, just really good football from all aspects of this week.
I agree, man. I agree. The Broncos Vikings, which we're gonna touch on a little bit, that was a surprise to me.
The Cardinals down the stretch, the Niners too.
Yeah, they just ended a couple of minutes ago, so it was a lot of like close games that you wouldn't expect going into the schedule.
No, you're absolutely right, and I mean honestly, this is what football is about. It's fun to watch this shit, man. And I'm hoping the Bears and Rams make this a really good game too.
I agree. We're not touching on it, but I hope the Rams, the Chargers and Chiefs game. Hoping we see a close game with that as well.
No, you're hoping that the Chiefs lose.
Oh no, I'm definitely
hoping. Want the Raiders to have a glimmer of hope.
We're there, baby. I didn't think it was going to be there. We're there.
To much of my surprise, you're there. And honestly, as a guy that's on the other side of this, hearing you talk so much shit about my team, part of me hopes you tank. I hope you blow this season. But I as a good friend of mine, I do want to see you succeed. So I hope you make the playoffs and then get blown out by 50 in the first round. I am more than happy with that.
You know what? I'll say this though. I did not think the Raiders were going to be this close to possibly winning the division.
No,
if the Chiefs continue to slip, we're right there, baby. We're right there. Derek Carr can say he beat the Chiefs out of the playoff spot.
Oh my God! Can you
say
imagine that? Oh,
yeah.
Talk about a story. If the Raiders win the division, I would be utterly shocked.
You're joking though, but that's a great story.
It's a phenomenal story. Who'd have thought they get rid of probably the best wide receiver they've had in 5-6 years? And they still make a run for the playoffs. And if they make it, they still make the playoffs. Oh my God, it's crazy.
It's a storybook ending, man.
No, it really is. It just shows that one player really doesn't make a team at all.
Yeah, and there's always a chance. Yeah. Anything is possible.
Yep.
So before we go on any further, I want to say to the viewers watching and the viewers going to watch in the future, please leave a comment. We'd love to read it on air or read it after in the next show. And we'd love to get your feedback as well.
Yep. Just let us know what you guys think about this.
And I got a comment before about when do we start and when do we go live, because people don't know when we go live or not. Subscribe to the channel, and you click that bell. You always know a notification when we go live. It's the best way to go. We make this come on here and shoot the shit sometimes.
Sometimes just after a big game, just come on here and just spit the shit with each other and bust each other's balls.
Exactly. All right, man. So let's go through these games a little bit, shall we? Yes. The Bills beat Dolphins 37-20. No surprise there. The Cowboys beat the Lions 35-27. That was a close game.
Very good game. Very good game. I'll tell you this much. For all the shit I gave Dak Prescott, he actually balled up and he He actually made some big plays. Not gonna lie.
See, that's progress. You start coming to the deck now. We're in week 11. We're starting to see progress from you.
Oh my god, I still hate him with all my gut, man. Still hate him.
The Colts beat the Jaguars 13-33. That's significant because that was Nick Foles' first game back.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was a decent game towards the beginning. No, Mick Foles actually looked good. Again, I was actually extremely surprised that they were gonna put Foles in. I thought they were gonna stick with Minshew. You know, just the hype around him and how good he was playing. I thought that was gonna be what it was, but I mean, when you're paying the guy that much money, you know what I mean? You gotta get him in the game, I guess. Did pay a shit ton of money to the guy. Might as well play him.
That's fair. Let's look at Nick Foles for a second. He went 33 for 47, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So it was a pretty decent, good game.
Yeah, first game back. You can't really expect him to go for 506 touchdowns, right? I mean,
nor did I expect him to, but I will say this: it was a good game coming back. I just wouldn't have put him back in the season.
No,
bring him back next season.
Yeah, I mean, I if depending on how he does in the last couple games,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they went into the spring into the preseason and they just like, listen, it's between you and Minshew. Whoever plays better gets it.
Right. Jacoby Brissett goes 15 to 24, 148 yards, 1 touchdown, a 76 QPR. So he's still holding it down for the Colts.
He's doing enough to win. That's all he's doing. And that's all you can do with that team, honestly. That's all you want him to do. You don't want him to go too much.
The Saints beat the Buccaneers 34 to 17. The Saints continue to roll on. It'd be a dark horse for winning that NFC. The Falcons, the surprise, beat the Panthers 29-3.
First last week they beat the Saints, and then this week they beat the Panthers. That's two really good teams that they just and not even just beat. That's two really good teams that they absolutely manhandled. Like, it wasn't a close game at all. They made them look like children, and this was the Falcons team that we expected going into the season. This is the type of team we expected to see week in and week out. It's a little too late now, but it's good to see that maybe they're making some right moves for next year.
Yeah, the momentum from this game and the rest of the game of the season could probably propel them into the next season. And I want to give credit to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan went 21 to 31, 311 yards, 1 touchdown, 111 QPR. The defense did good too. Go ahead. The defense did good too. They got 4 interceptions. This is a team with the Falcons. We talked about maybe not even winning the rest of this season. This is a team we talked about Matt Ryan potentially being axed out of that team.
Did you expect them to beat the Saints last year? Did you expect them to beat the Panthers this week? I honestly thought going into this 2 weeks, I thought both teams were looking at this game like, oh, okay, this is a good game to just kind of get our bearings again, settle down, because this wasn't a good team going into these 2 weeks. What changed? Obviously the whole team obviously changed its mentality because it's a completely brand new team.
Yeah.
It's not the same team we saw the first 9 weeks.
Which is good. But when we talk about Matt Ryan, this team being a Super Bowl contender team at one point. They were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They were close to winning the Super Bowl.
Going into the season, we expected them to at least compete for the top 2 playoff spots in the league.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at it, two good wins, and we're looking already, this is positive for next year, which it just shows every year is different, man. Every year is a completely different year.
And I want to see Julio Jones be more active.
And it's positive that he has been. Has been, which is a positive. And obviously, that's one of the key things that they needed to do, and I'm glad that they're starting to do that now. Because you saw in the first 9 weeks, they were kind of just going away from Julio, kind of more going towards – at the time, Sanu, and who would have thought that them trading away one of their best players kind of was one of the catalysts for rebounding this whole team.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think this Falcons team, again, we'll see what happens next year because I don't think they go into the playoffs this year at all. No. But let's see if the momentum carries over to next year.
You gotta hope, and this team is just too good. You can't be this good and not be competing every year in and year out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And the Cardinals, a close game, but they still lost to the 49ers, 36-26. The 49ers are now 9-1. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Kyler Murray's trying to show why he was a number 1 overall pick.
I agree.
He's really the wins. If you're a Cardinals fan, you shouldn't really give a shit about the wins. You knew going into this year this wasn't going to be more. It's kind of in the same boat with the Giants. Obviously, they're doing better, but in the sense that you're not really caring about the wins. You're caring more about the progression of your quarterback. Getting the team right, getting the team chemistry correct, everything in that sense. And the wins will come eventually. Don't get me wrong, but it's good to see that Kyler Murray is actually playing really well. He wasn't just a bust first-round pick now. He's actually playing well. He's making smart decisions, and the guy could run the ball, too.
Exactly. I like Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray's game, and I thought Dwayne Haskins probably be the standout out of that rookie class. It's Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it really is. And all those people that said that criticized them because they had Josh Rosen before last year, it just shows that it's crazy how good this kid really is, or he could be. You know what I mean?
I agree. I definitely agree.
I'm hoping that this team is actually going to continue to get good because this team, they have all the pieces. They really do. They really have all the pieces. They have skills all around. It's just they don't. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to be a good coach also. I think he's going to be a very good coach, in my opinion.
He's proven himself.
He is. He's shown that he can actually coach at this level, which is actually surprising. His first year, I didn't think he was going to be that great, but he's showing that he can coach at this level.
Yeah, and a lot of people doubted him going to the season, and him and Kyler Murray are making it work. Who knows how they build off for next season? You go on for a second. Who knows how he's going to build off next season? But I could definitely see the progress of Kyler Murray from game 1 now into week 11 of the NFL.
Yep, absolutely.
The Vikings beat the Broncos in a close game, 23-27. The Vikings score, I think, 20 points going into the fourth quarter, which is incredible.
They scored every drive they had in the second half, which is incredible. And to think, going into halftime, that was one of the games that I thought going into halftime, I was like, wow, this is going to be an upset because this is a Vikings team that just came off beating the Cowboys in a really good game. They come into Denver thinking, I thought they're gonna run through Denver. This isn't gonna be really a close game.
Right.
And Denver just showed up in the first half. They really came to play.
Yeah, it would surprise me. I thought this was gonna be a one-sided beatdown for the Vikings, and the Broncos made it a good game.
They did. And what do you think this says about the Vikings though? Like, do you think that this kind of shows that they can play against adversity? Because don't get me wrong, I understand the Broncos aren't the greatest team. They're not the greatest team on turf. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're still the defense isn't a shitty defense. It's not. It's still a respectable defense, and the Vikings just went the whole second half and scored on every drive. It gives me hope that this team could possibly compete if they make the playoffs.
No, you should have that. You should have that reassurance there. I definitely think this Vikings team are good. Who knows if Kirk Cousins is the real QB for that team? That remains to be seen. Kirk Cousins has his off days as well, and sometimes he's not as consistent, and he's sometimes turn him on a little bit. Dalvin Cook, I think, should have been more. He should have more role in this game. Probably would have made it not that close to the game to begin with. But yeah, I think this Vikings team is a good team, and they belong in that pack of being a playoff contender team.
I agree. I think they're in that group right below, the Niners, the Saints, the Packers. Yeah. They're in that level right below them. But if they get hot at the right time, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to knock off one of those three teams. It wouldn't really surprise me at all if they went into New Orleans or they went into San Francisco or they went into Green Bay and not just put up a good game, might even win one of those games. It does depend on how Kirk Cousins plays, though. That's the big catalyst.
Yeah, I think that is the big catalyst. Whether Kirk Cousins could be consistent enough to make the big plays and to make things happen. That's the biggest issue. I think the defense has always been great.
Mm-hmm.
They have the talent on offense. It's just whether Kirk Cousins could be consistent enough to make the plays.
Yep, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Jaleel Johnson, who's on the Vikings. He's a family friend.
All right, how's he playing?
He's doing pretty well. I think he started today.
Oh, good for him, man. Good win then. Very good
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. And the last but not we also got the Washington versus Jets. Jets beat Washington 34-17. The reason why I forgot about this game because it does not matter.
It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just a continuation of the worst of the worst games, man.
Yeah. However, the Jets are on a two game win streak. They beat your Giants last week, which you didn't talk
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. You know what
We're
though?
still in love with the Giants right now.
What's crazy though is Daniel Jones had a phenomenal game. The guy threw for what? I think it was 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is wild. But God, our defense couldn't stop. We couldn't stop a 1-9 team, which just gets me. It just baffles the shit out of me, man.
Yeah.
Really baffles the shit out of me.
It is
We lost for a
amazing.
guy that was looking at ghosts the whole game. That's what we lost for. Unbelievable.
It is
man.
amazing to me that this Giants team. Forget about what the Giants have, Le'Veon. The Jets have Le'Veon Bell or whatever. That doesn't matter. I'm surprised the Giants gave up a game to the Jets.
It's okay. It's all part of the plan. We're trying to get the number 1 overall pick. That's what we're doing. We're banking. No, I don't even want to. We're going for a defensive end. That's what we're doing, man. Oh man, we're hoping the Bengals win a freaking game.
You stick with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I'd stay with Daniel Jones.
Okay.
I think obviously his biggest problems are the fumbles.
Yes.
But as a first year, he's still getting used to the speed of the game. He's made some phenomenal plays in his short career. In the short time he's been here, he's made some great plays. Again, against the Jets, yeah, those fumbles and takeaways hurt, but look between that. He had 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. He single-handedly kept us in that game. Yeah, he lost this game too, but single-handedly he kept us in the game because Saquon fucking disappeared, and his dad's a Jets fan, so he probably made some bet with his dad, but he just outsucked today, and give his dad happiness for once because holy shit, man, he's not healthy. Like I said before, we should not play him. He needs to disappear for this year.
Yeah, I think we talked on the show that I didn't like Saquon Barkley coming in that fast.
I would have just made some shit up that like he got shot or something and just kept him in the bag, bro. And just made some shit up because I wasn't gonna freaking let him. If I was a coach, he wouldn't even be he'd be in a different state. He wouldn't be nowhere near the Meadowlands, man.
Bubble wrapped and everything.
But what? He'd be in a crate inside of a freaking storage unit. Nothing could hurt him. Nothing could touch him. What? Oh my god! And yet they want to say he's okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Guess me tight.
Yeah, man.
Shermer's not going to be there next year. Shermer's gone this year.
You know what? I would not be surprised at that. I think Daniel Jones. Go back to Daniel Jones for a second. I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I think you should give him another shot next season.
Absolutely.
Great composure. Some questionable passes sometimes, but that could be fixed, right?
Well, do you expect any different from a first year?
Realistically? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, you're right. I agree that we should give him one more year. Again, if he does this again next year, then I start to question it, and I start to think, okay, this may be what he is. But I want to give him a full year. I want to be able to go into this offseason, into this draft, and build around Daniel Jones and Saquon. Build what we need, and then if we have a good draft, we draft properly with the offensive line, we draft properly with the defense, and we sign the right players, and we still do this bad next year, okay, that's a different story. Then I start questioning, okay, is really Daniel Jones a question? Is Mara really having the right people there in our front office? I start to question everything. But right now, I knew we weren't going to be this good. I understood that we were probably going to lose majority of our games. When I look at the Giants, I don't give a shit about the score. I don't give a shit about anything. I look at how Daniel Jones is playing, and that's mostly who I care about because I don't want to go through this quarterback limbo, man. The Jets did it, and I watched it, how bad it's gone. I don't want to go through the same thing as they did.
No, I think that's fair. I think you bring up a great point. I think you should stick behind Daniel Jones.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. Everything you just said.
Listen, honestly, me and you could agree 1,000 times. Gettleman has a completely different plan. He's fucking looking at this shit with, maybe Daniel Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if Gettleman just blows up the whole team. The way he goes, his moves don't surprise me anymore because I expect the most unpredictable moves to Gettleman. Honestly.
Well, speaking of unpredictable, the Raiders beat the Bengals 17 to 10.
No,
Great segue. Great segue. I'm getting so good at this job.
It was unpredictable how I texted you earlier. I'm like, is the Raiders going to cover the 12.5 spread that they had? And you go, I expect a blowout. I was like, all right, cool. I'll put the bet in. Are you kidding me? They look like last year's Raiders. I was so pissed. I was like, are you freaking shitting me, man?
Oh my god. So here's the deal with this, right? So I told you to put the bet in because I didn't think the Bengals defense and then the Bengals defense showed up. It's like, oh, that's listen.
When Joe Mixon made the 4 guys miss on that short touchdown run, I knew right there. I was like, oh man, there's no shot we cover this game because this is gonna be bad. Oh man.
So even all jokes aside, Derek Carr still gets the job done. This Raiders team are now 6-4. They're now close. They're now tied with the Chiefs, and they could possibly steal this division.
It is so insane that you guys are actually tied with the Chiefs.
Isn't it though?
Shit.
Isn't it though? Football is so unpredictable.
Listen to this stat. This is what baffles the shit out of me. The Chiefs are 6-4. The Raiders are 6-4.
Yep.
The Raiders have scored 225 points this year.
Mm-hmm.
They've given up 250 points. The Chiefs have given up 239 points and scored 284. But you guys are tied, which is freaking baffles the shit out of me.
Game manager Dak.
Oh my. Game manager Carr. You mean?
Sorry.
Jesus.
I'm also a fan of Derek Carr. I mean Dak Prescott for doing what he's doing as well. He's also 6. That team's also 6-4 as well. Which you also hate, which is great because my team is doing well. Dak Prescott is doing well. Your Giants are doing shitty. So it's the best of both worlds.
You guys, the Raiders have scored 20 more points than us in this whole year, and you guys have 4 more wins than us. You fucking shitting me? You have 4 more wins, but you've only scored 20 more points than us.
Hey, but give credit to Josh Jacobs, our running back. 23 carries, 112 yards. Derek Carr, 25-29, 292 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's handling the ball well. He also rushed for a touchdown. Josh Jacobs blew the goddamn spread. He fumbled on the goal line run. Fucked up the spread. That would have been it. That's the freaking spread, and he freaking fumbles it. The first fumble of his goddamn career is the 1 week I freaking bet on him. No, I don't think that was the first fumble of his career.
No, that was the first goal line fumble he had.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure he fumbled multiple times this season alone.
The first goal line fumble, and it's the week I bet on him. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh man!
I will say this though: he's a good acquisition for the Raiders.
Oh,
he's a great acquisition. He's a great running back.
Yeah, he's a great running back. It sucks the 1 week I bet on him. They want to pull out the 2018 Raiders and play like this, man.
Listen, the Raiders was like, it's easy, man. let's just relax. Let's relax. Derek Carr's gonna rush for a touchdown. It's gonna be all good.
Unbelievable.
All jokes aside, this Raiders team, man, who would have thought going into the season that they would be right there in terms of possibly being the Chiefs out of that AFC West?
Oh, you
would have thought.
You could have came out to me at the beginning of the year and bet me $1,000 that the Chiefs and the Raiders would be week 11. They'd be tied for the division. I would have been like, listen, give me my $1,000 now because that's not happening. I would have never thought that. I thought the Raiders were going to be like honestly, I thought this was their cap. I thought they were going to be between 6, 7, 8 being a push in the win column. The fact that they actually have a chance, to actually win 10 games, it's unbelievable, man. Good for you guys. I mean, I don't hope you don't get it, but good for you guys.
I appreciate that. I know it took a lot out of you to say that, but I appreciate it. And honestly, we're even in the wild card position as well.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, if you look at the AFC, there's a couple of teams in that 6-4 spot.
You're right now. You're chasing the Bills, but they only have a game on you.
Yeah, and we're also chasing the Chiefs, so it's looking all right in Oakland.
Oh man, I can't wait you guys move to Vegas and everyone hates you guys again.
All right, Sergio. So we pretty much covered the games a little bit. So what game do you want to start? You want to go more in depth with? Do you want to go Patriots Eagles first, or you want to go Browns and Steelers first?
Let's do Browns Steelers first, since it was a Thursday night game.
Okay, and that's probably the most noteworthy this week 11.
Oh my God, bro! What the hell is going on over there?
Yeah. We chronicle the Browns. I think almost every time we do a show, we talk about the Browns almost every time, and it just gets more and more crazier and more just controversial from week to week to week to week.
Oh my God.
So the Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 21-7. It's a great game. Finally getting some momentum going. I guess it's a Steelers team that are still without Big Ben, but still have a good team. Juju Smith is on that team. Mason Rudolph as a rookie. I mean, not a second year quarterback. So it was a rivalry as well. So it was a really
there was a lot of hype around it going into the game. And there should have been. It was a very good game.
It was a very important game. However, that's not the story. The story is not Baker Mayfield going 17-32, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 92 QPR.
Probably his best game of the year too, and it's not even the story.
Nick Chubb going 27 carries, 92 yards. That's not, and Kareem Hunt back, 6 carries, 12 yards. That's not the story. Odell Beckham Jr. going 4 receptions, 60 yards, and actually being a part of the game. That's not the story. What is the story? Is Myles Garrett taking a football helmet over Mason Rudolph's head and trying to kill him with it.
Bro, he was trying to be a good Samaritan and put the helmet back on his head. That was all it was. But Mason Rudolph moved his head too much and it got hit. Listen, that's all it was. He was just put the helmet back nicely.
We could not stress it enough. Maybe less than 10 seconds left in the game. Like the game's done. It's 21-7. You got it in the bank. Let's go to next week. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out what we're gonna do from here. Because our team's been horrible this whole entire season. Let's start move on. No, Myles Garrett says
no.
Go take the helmet off of Mason Rudolph's head. Try to bash him in the head with it. Like a horror flick.
We gotta at least acknowledge too. Mason Rudolph kind of instigated the whole thing. I'm not saying that it's his fault completely, but the guy during that tackle, he was trying to rip off Myles Garrett's helmet. But let's be honest. Mason Rudolph, if by some miracle way he happens to watch this show, I'm gonna say this: you're a fucking retard. The guy has like 150.
Oh my lord!
He bench presses Myles Garrett's weight. No, Mason Rudolph's weight. And you want to go after the dude that literally just threw you on the ground like you're a rag doll? Come on,
why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? You can't be PC for one show. You can't say the right thing for one show.
It just baffles me though. Like, sorry, let's be honest. Okay. If you go up to a guy about 5 inches taller than you, 150 pounds heavier than you, are you gonna go try to freaking rip his helmet off and try to fight him? He's gonna eat you. Myles Garrett almost ate the dude. Mason Rudolph is so lucky that his offensive line like him, that Pouncey actually cares about the dude. Because if Pouncey wasn't there, Myles Garrett would have thrown him 13 rows into the freaking stand.
Talk about a ride or die.
It really is, man. Yeah. Really is. But I mean, you can't have that in football, and he got suspended.
No.
Do you think he's done for football for good, or do you think this is just a rest of the year type of suspension?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and we can't stress it enough. Mason Rudolph is a backup of a backup at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like, he is the backup of a backup. He's the third string. You're Myles Garrett.
You're the last defense. You can't do something stupid like that.
No, but I'm talking about you're Myles Garrett. Come on, man. It's the third string, and you won 21-7. I understand sometimes the heat of the moment or whatever, but taking a football helmet off and trying to bash somebody in the head with it is not the move.
It's really in no circumstances that is that the right play to do, honestly.
So I'm glad you spoke about the suspension. So right now he's on a definite suspension.
Mm-hmm.
But Ian Rappaport tweeted that he's NFL insider. He said, as Browns Myles Garrett gets set to appeal his lengthy suspension, one source said an argument will be that the CBA does not allow for an indefinite suspension for on-field acts. Garrett will
Really?
hope for a fitted number as well as a reduction.
Really? I didn't know that. So there's a possibility, not for this year, but there's a possibility, a good one, that he's not going to be gone from the league in general. He could be
Yes,
back next year.
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that honestly, given the circumstances of other suspensions that we've seen, examples like Josh Gordon, Ray Rice, those type of examples of being suspended for extremely long lengths of time.
Off field though.
You're right, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that was in the CBA. I didn't know that you can't do an indefinite for on-field actions. Very interesting.
Which is fortunate for Myles Garrett.
Yes, extremely fortunate. Yes.
He's still have to pay a fine. And again, he's gonna try to get an exact number from the NFL and try to figure out how many games he's going to be suspended for. He's gonna even try to look for a reduction off that. But maybe his claim will be that Mason Rudolph started at first. But even that's like a very a BS kind of statement to make.
And
that somebody started first.
Realistically, if they're gonna give him a number, because of how the situation escalated, and because they did do an indefinite off the bat, and apparently you can't do that in the CBA.
Yeah,
they're probably just going to be listen. You're done for the rest of the year, and we'll discuss it again going into next year if we want to if we're going to continue your suspension or not. Because I feel like it does seem the rest of the year it seems long enough. It sounds worse than it is, because if this wasn't like week 3, week 4, and we say the rest of the year, okay, you're like, yeah, that's a suitable suspension. You do the rest of the year now, it's only 5-6 games he's missing. It's really not a suitable. Like, the guy literally tried to break back the guy's head back into his shoulders,
Yeah, and that's the bigger issue here, right? Because, and somebody brought this up to me, had it been a Tom Brady, had it been a Big Ben Roethlisberger, had it been a Russell Wilson, and you would have done that, the suspension would have been a lot more severe than what it is now.
Oh yeah, he would be out the league in a heartbeat. If it was Tom Brady, Myles Garrett, it wouldn't even be a question. It wouldn't be an indefinite suspension. It would be like, listen, you're gone from the league. You're done.
Right.
There's no shot you come back.
Right, but it's Mason Rudolph, so I guess they're gonna give him more slack. But even that, that's a little nasty.
Yeah, Mason, it
is. It's a quarterback's a quarterback at this point in time, and for you to try to attack Mason Rudolph with a helmet.
To be honest,
which could have been
worse than it turned out. Yeah.
Yes, it could have been very, very bad. He's lucky charges weren't pressed on him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, to say it's Mason, I understand it's Mason Rudolph who really cares about him. He's like you said, third string. This is probably the only time he's going to see the field once Roethlisberger comes back. Honestly, it's still a really bad thing that he did. The guy, he could have easily cracked the dude's head open if he hit it in the right way.
Yes.
He has to get more than just the rest of this year. He has to be suspended into next year. And honestly, I don't know if you really want this guy back. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Amazing player, phenomenal defensive end. The guy could play football, like one of the top. He's up there arguably with the Khalil Macks and the Darnolds. But the difference is they're not doing this shit. They're not out there to hurt the guy. This guy legitimately could have killed this dude if he hit him in the right area of the head with such a solid object like a helmet. Like, it wasn't like he hit him with a football, a rubber, it'll bounce off. No, he hit him with a legitimate metal piece. Could have killed the dude. He shouldn't be back on this field, man. He really shouldn't be back at any time soon, if at all.
I think it should be a suspension leading into next season. Because they're not gonna make the playoffs. I don't believe at this point in time. And the rest of the season is not that long.
No, it's 6 games at this point.
And like something like this has to be a demonstration that this can never happen.
Yep.
Like this could never escalate to the point where you try to almost damn near probably kill a guy with a helmet.
Yep. I agree with you. This has to be the one and only time this ever happens, and the
Yes.
NFL has to come down. I don't care if this is a first offense. I don't care if this is the first time this guy's ever been in trouble. It doesn't matter. This can never happen because, God forbid, in next year or 2 years, you're there, you're a kid's watching, and this happens again. But this time it's even worse, and this time maybe the guy dies. You
Yeah.
don't want to see it. You don't want to have kids watching the game, trying to enjoy a nice game of football, and
With a
they
family and everything
die.
like that.
Yeah, and they see a guy die because NFL didn't properly demonstrate that this cannot happen ever again. And if you do this does happen, you're done.
I do want to read a statement from Myles Garrett. This is from ESPN reporter on this and covered this. He said, "I lost my cool. I regret it. It's gonna come back to hurt our team. The guys who jumped into the scrum. I appreciate my team for having my back, but it never should have gotten to that point. It's on me." So he has shown some remorse from it, which is a good sign.
No, it is.
Whether you believe it or not, it is a good sign. And like I said, Mason Rudolph, he has some play in it too. He put his he grabbed Myles Garrett helmet.
You're absolutely right. I don't want it to be just us here bashing Myles Garrett. I understand completely. Mason Rudolph has a lot of fault in this. He instigated it. He was the one that was starting it all up. But Myles Garrett just really just took it to the next level.
Yeah. It didn't need to go there. It was up 21-7. 8 seconds left in the game. You didn't need to react.
Listen,
against a third string quarterback.
If he was talking shit, okay, push him, smack him upside the head. That's fine. To take that guy's helmet off and hit him with it, that's too much. It's just there's no place for that in football. There's no place for that type of stuff in football.
No. And Mason Rudolph's going to pay a fine too as well. Marquise Pouncey tried to get Myles Garrett while he's on the ground. He's getting a 3-game suspension. Larry Ogunjobi he's getting the 1-game suspension. He also jumped in the fray.
That's the old lineman for the Steelers, right? Larry. I think that's the one that I don't think he should have been suspended. If this is the same guy that I think you're talking about, that's the guy that was pushing Myles Garrett away from Mason Rudolph, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just pushing Myles Garrett off Rudolph, and I don't think he should have ever been suspended for that one game.
Well, if that's the case, he got him too, and it's unfortunate. Again, it's the Browns win against a rival against the Steelers, and this is supposed to be that's what you're talking about. We're talking about the Browns beating the Steelers and getting some momentum, possibly win the rest of the games in the season, and maybe potentially a wild card spot, or maybe move it to next season. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Myles Garrett and what happened.
It's unfortunate. It's stuff like that. Really, it's not. I'll be the first one. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, I laughed a little because I didn't think it was that. But as you watch it more and really watch what happened, it's not. There's no need for that in the NFL, man. Especially when kids are watching, man. You can't have them see that.
And we joke about it because we have to do a show. We have to make it entertaining. But at the end of the day, this is a serious offense. And if Myles Garrett aims at Mason Rudolph's head with the actual back of the helmet more than I think it's got more of the face mask.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot more fatal than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that just can't happen. And Juju Smith is out with concussion, which is also noteworthy as well. So he's potentially done for the season.
Yeah, I heard that they're thinking about it. I heard that they, depending on how these tests go in the next coming days, they might actually have to just put him in IR. Because this isn't the first time Juju's had this type of repercussions with concussions constantly happen, and supposedly it's getting worse and worse for him.
Which is not a good sign.
The guy could play too. That's what's unfortunate. The guy's one of the better wide receivers in the league.
I agree. Let's move on. Let's move on, shall we? I don't really know how else to transition out of this.
All right. So what's the next team that we were going to talk about?
You know what? I think I want to talk Texans and Ravens. I think I want to stay the Patriots for last. I think there's something more to be said about that.
Okay, not a problem. I'm more than happy to talk about this game because this was honestly so unexpected.
It was a full display of Lamar Jackson's talents.
Oh, the guy's a video game cheat. He's a cheat code. He really is a cheat code.
So Lamar Jackson goes 17 to 24, 222 yards, 4 touchdowns, 139 QBR. He had 9 carries for 86 yards. Lamar Jackson, he may not be MVP, but he is definitely making a consideration for being.
Oh man, who else would be the MVP?
I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna stay up for a little second, but I think Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson should be MVP. I find it hard to not give it to Russell Wilson.
You all know why I wouldn't give it to Russell Wilson?
Why? I like this. I want to.
Ravens have the best offense in football, in my opinion. They have the best offense in football.
My counter argument to that would be that's the reason why I would give Russell Wilson a nod, because what Russell Wilson it has to deal with. Like the weapons he has.
How much do you think this Ravens offense is the best offense in football because of Lamar Jackson?
The Seahawks. The Seahawks are less than without.
Yes,
way more less than without Russell Wilson than Lamar Jackson without the Ravens. Marquise Brown, Willie Snead.
Yeah, and who the Seahawks have? They have Josh Gordon. They have Tyler Lockett. They
just got Josh Gordon. So they didn't always have Josh Gordon. Tyler Lockett, who's out hurt now. They have there's not a lot of.
No, I'm not saying that it's a complete runaway by Lamar Jackson. In my opinion, I do think Russell Wilson has a legitimate argument. It's just the way the Ravens have been playing. Like, in my opinion, from week 1 to week 11 now, it's legitimately the whole story has been Lamar Jackson, how great he's been playing. Russell Wilson, it's kind of been more towards the last 3-4 weeks that it's been like, oh, wow, this guy's actually playing really, really well. You know, it hasn't been week 1. We were just like, okay, Russell Wilson has to be in this MVP conversation because he wasn't in the conversation in the beginning. I think Lamar Jackson has just been week in and week out just an unbelievable, and he's doing it on both sides. He's doing running and passing. It's not Russell Wilson can run around. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a mobile quarterback. He very much is, but to the level of Lamar Jackson, it's not close. It's really not close.
I'm glad you gave me enough time because this whole time I was flipping through my notes to try to find the stats that I have. So Lamar Jackson right now, we're talking about player to player, quarterback to quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is ranked 20th in passing yards with 2,036 yards. Russell Wilson is ranked 4th with 2,737. In terms of touchdowns and interceptions, Lamar Jackson has 10 touchdowns going into this game. This with the Texans, so he has 14 now. You would say, and Russell Wilson has 23.
How many rushing touchdowns does Lamar Jackson have? You have that stat there.
I did not get that, but that's actually a good point.
Because I think he has about.
And Lamar Jackson, to the credit of what you're saying, Lamar Jackson is, I believe, ranked, like in the top 10 in terms of rushing yards in the NFL.
Yeah, as a quarterback too, which is crazy.
Right? But again, when you look at Russell Wilson is 68.3 in completion. Lamar Jackson is 65.9. QPR Russell Wilson is 114. Lamar Jackson is 101. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is 10th, like you said, in rushing in the league.
Yeah.
He has 788 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he's at 21 touchdowns total.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. I just think when I look at Lamar Jackson, we talked about even in the show, we talked about Lamar Jackson and how some games did he look like himself.
No, you're right. I
can't say that about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has been consistent throughout the whole entire season. and he's had the most difficult throughout the entire season. Like, we're talking about the
he's had harder games. Yes, I
Russell
completely
Wilson has had games where he had to push the Seahawks to a win late in games. That 49ers game is probably the best game of the season. And it was all because
yes,
of Russell Wilson
absolutely.
and him pushing the team to get in the W. He's had so many moments of that throughout the season that it's hard not to say, with his numbers, with what he's been doing with this team, but is not the most explosive offense, that he's not the MVP of this league. He has done so much by himself and hold this team on his back that it's hard not to give him the MVP at this point.
I don't know, man. I don't get me wrong.
Jackson's up there. Russell Wilson deserves it for what he's been doing with this team by himself.
Why the main reason why I wouldn't give it to him is, yes, Russell Wilson, phenomenal season. Guy's playing out of his mind. And trust me, I've never been a Russell Wilson fan. I always thought that he kind of leaned on the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch most of his career.
Right.
Now that he's not doing it with either of those entities on the team and he's still doing what he's doing, I give a lot of respect for Russell Wilson and how he plays. But I haven't seen a guy play quarterback like Lamar Jackson this effectively, because there's been a lot of people that wanted to replicate what he's doing since Michael Vick. And Michael Vick, from what the players I've seen, is arguably one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
What about RG3? I think RG3 was probably the closest one since Michael Vick. You say?
Yes, but not to this. Not RG3 and Colin Kaepernick were on the. Yes. They emulated it, but they weren't to this effectiveness of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
they weren't as good as he. And don't get me wrong. I don't know if he's going to continue. I don't know if he's going to have the career that Michael Vick had.
Yeah,
but he's the closest thing I've seen to legitimately replicating what Michael Vick could do in his prime. And it's just blowing me away, the fact that this guy is playing this well, man. And
I agree.
Listen, if it goes to either one of them, I wouldn't be upset. If it went to Russell Wilson, I won't be upset. I'll be like, the guy did have a phenomenal career, a phenomenal year. There's argument that he deserves it, and I wouldn't be mad. But if it goes to Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't be surprised either, because the guy is playing at such a level that it's just amazing that he could do this much with his skill abilities. He's a running back, basically throwing the ball, and he could throw the ball too, which is crazy how good he could throw the ball.
The only reason, and I agree, I think Lamar Jackson, he deserves to be in that conversation. The only reason why I would be upset, not really upset, but just disappointed, is because I just know how much work it puts for Russell Wilson to get the team a W. A team that on paper is not the best offense put together, but he's just finding a way to scramble in tight situations, making it work. He's finding a way to control the game from game to game. He's finding a way to make passes that you would not be able to make, and he's just doing it all by himself. It's amazing to see, and it'll break my heart if he didn't get it.
Do you think the standings or wherever the team finishes should affect this?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I think they're both playing at a high level. I think they're both
8-2, but the Seahawks are obviously in the Niners division, so they're not in first place, whereas the Ravens are in first place in their division.
Yeah. I don't think the wild card spot, potentially getting the wild card spot of being the leader in that division, to change anything. I think just the players individual and how they've gotten, it makes a difference. And looking at the offense of what they're dealing with, and if you want to do it that way, look at the games the Seahawks has played against. And how much they had to struggle in order to get a win. And it's Russell Wilson at the end of the game saving the day.
Yeah, but you kind of say the same thing about the Ravens. Look at some of the games they had to play.
And we've seen, and that's true. And Lamar Jackson is part of that. However, we had seen early in the season where Lamar Jackson did not look like himself. He had the game going to face the Chiefs, and since that game, it was like 2 or 3 games after that was like, what happened to Lamar Jackson? And then he just picked it up recent weeks.
Perfect right here. They did play each other. I was wondering if they did. That game that they played each other, Lamar Jackson went 9 for 20, 143 yards passing, no touchdowns.
Mhm.
But he ran 14 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown there.
Right.
Russell Wilson went 20 for 41, 241 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And then 3 carries for 27 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah, I believe that was the game where the Ravens beat the Seahawks. If I'm mistaken, right?
Oh, I forgot that the Ravens beat the Seahawks. Yeah, 30-16.
Yeah.
I forgot that the Seahawks have who I think is going to be a really good wide receiver in the future in DK Metcalf.
I agree. I was forgetting the name of who other wide receivers on that team, but yeah, I agree. He's also a good wide receiver for that team.
Obviously, right now they don't have the greatest weapons, but they have pieces there that are going to be good.
Yeah.
But that just shouldn't take away from anything from Russell Wilson. He still has to make the throws. He still has to make the right throws. He still has to make the right reads.
Yeah.
This is what the MVP really is. It's a conversation. The two best arguably the two best players in football right now, and honestly, those two are, in my opinion, there shouldn't be an argument. Those are the two best players in football right now.
We can agree on that. I think those two are playing at an elite level, which I thought Patrick Mahomes would be in that conversation as well.
Yeah. The only person I could see in the argument, not to take it over, not to be over them, but at least in that class, is McCaffrey. It's the only person I can see in that. But I still, if the season was to end today, I don't think McCaffrey should be in that conversation. It should legitimately be only Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson.
I agree. I totally agree. And you won't get any argument out of me of who the two best in the NFL is right now.
There's really no close as those two.
I'm glad we had this discussion because I really do feel that Russell Wilson is not getting the credit he deserves for pulling this team through the trenches, especially in that 49ers game where it was just all of Russell Wilson to make the right plays, and he got it done.
Yep. Listen, I'm not going to say nothing bad about Russell Wilson this year. The guy's just been playing an outstanding game of football, honestly. Really, really just gets in there and makes the right plays every week. And just plays properly as a quarterback. He's a definition of what you want from any quarterback you get. Just play like Russell Wilson, really.
Yeah,
it's really all it is.
Well, Lamar Jackson was playing like one of the best players in the league, and again, that's that segue. That segue is getting better, man. It's getting better. Lamar Jackson leads the team 41 over Texans 7. The defense also did a great job stopping the Texans all over them.
Oh man, all over them.
Matthew Judon got 2 sacks. Jalen Ferguson got a sack. Tyus Bowser got 2 sacks. Brandon Williams got a sack. This defense was all over the Texans, and the Texans really couldn't get anything going.
Which is surprising because going into this week, there was another quarterback that, depending on how he played this week, he would have been in that conversation with the Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson in Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
If he had a really good game this week, me and you would have came on the show and we would have said, move over to Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. You have more company in Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
He just didn't show up today. And, I got to say, that old offensive line for the Texans.
We talked about it from the beginning, man.
Man, it was literally just open gaps everywhere for the defensive ends to just walk right up to Deshaun Watson, really. There was no resistance. I saw Deshaun Watson maybe take a 2-3 stop drop back where he didn't have to run away within a second of looking at his first read, maybe twice, maybe 3 times all game. The guy was literally drops back, has to run, has to move out the pocket, has to make something with his legs to extend the play. The guy can't be doing that all. And I think Deshaun Watson has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in football.
I agree.
If he just gets a better O-line, man.
And that's been the story we've been talking about since the beginning of doing the show, is that Deshaun Watson, he has all the potential. He has all the greatness in him. But that offensive line is just hurting him to the point where he's getting sacked multiple times in a game. It's just not good. It's not good for him.
No, it's really not. It's really hindering his progression, man. And we're talking about a kid that has the potential to be a generational quarterback. He has the skill sets to become this.
Right.
When every week week in, week out, he has to run around like crazy, like a chicken who just lost his head, just to make a 5-yard pass, just to make a 6-yard pass. It's not going to work out there. And I feel like they have to recognize that this offseason. Because if they could recognize that this offseason and make the proper moves to build that offensive line, this team, with the defense that it has, with the weapons it has, it could be one of the scariest teams in football.
You have DeAndre Hopkins, who is one of the best wide receivers in the league. You have Kenny Stills, who's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you have an offensive line that could give Deshaun Watson some time, they could be big-time players.
Absolutely. They could be one of the best. They could be arguably a top 5 wide receiving duo if you give Deshaun Watson enough time to throw the ball to them.
Yeah. Hopefully this loss against the Ravens kind of shows that what they need to work on in the offseason.
Yep, I agree. I'm 100% with you. I hope that this opens their eyes for their GM, whoever he may be, to realize what you exactly need. And that is this draft, this offseason, go big on the offensive line. That's what you need. If they could build anywhere to an improvement on that offensive line, you'll see Deshaun Watson take major steps in his career.
I agree. So if you're watching GM, if you're watching coaches,
yeah, if you somehow get to watch this, just somehow
protect Deshaun Watson at all times. Last but not least, sir.
Oh, Rams are up 3-0, by the way.
Oh, good. That Bear team, man. It boggles my mind that they're not as good as they should have been last season.
We're talking about a team who I personally thought if they got past that first round game, you're talking about a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. So a team who's 4-5 and can't with the quarterback who I thought was actually making strides.
Yeah,
Mr. Trubisky. So now I'm looking at this team and I'm like, okay, now they're gonna have to either draft a quarterback this offseason, either sign Colin Kaepernick, sign Cam Newton, something, because he is obviously not the guy you want there.
Speaking of Colin Kaepernick, I don't know if we want to talk about it now. One of us to talk about the New England Patriots first, but we got to talk about that.
Let's do Patriots first. Let's get that out the way.
All right, let's do that first. So I'm glad you brought up Colin Kaepernick. The Patriots beat the Philadelphia Eagles 17-10 in a very close game. Going down the stretch. If the Eagles made 1 or 2 right plays, they probably could have won the game. But the Patriots still get the job done. Tom Brady goes 26-47, 216 yards. Not a great game for Tom Brady whatsoever. Julian Edelman actually threw a touchdown.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not a great game when your wide receiver has more thrown touchdowns than you do that day.
That was pretty cool to see. And I love Julian Edelman. Sony Michel got 10 carries, 33 yards. Julian Edelman 5 receptions, 53 yards. He does it all. Philip Dorsett 3 receptions, 33 yards, 1 touchdown off that Julian Edelman pass. And the Patriots are more just based around their defense, and the defense showed up again.
Yes, they did.
They showed up again. Lawrence Guy got a fumble. They got to Dak. I mean, Carson Wentz 12 times in the game, which is impressive. They made Carson Wentz fumble the ball twice. Like this defense really showed out and really was an X factor in this game.
But you could say the same thing about the Eagles defense, because that defense showed up too. That the Eagles defense came to play. They held this Patriots team, who's not a bad Patriots offense. As much as in the last couple of shows we've been saying that obviously they're slowing down from what we've expected.
Yeah.
They held Tom Brady to 17 points. And, they gave Carson Wentz a chance to win this game. That's all you really can ask from your defense. Give me a chance to march down the field and win the game for us. And that's exactly what they did. And that's what I'm saying. If this team finds a way to get into the playoffs, this is a scary team to play, because not only do they have a legitimate quarterback, I do think Carson Wentz is a legitimate quarterback. I would
do so believe as well. He's a decent quarterback. He's a real good quarterback. I would say he's even elite at this point in time.
If they find a way to get into this playoffs, that's a team not many teams are going to want to face because the defense is just so stifling and it suffocates you. And then they just do enough to give Carson Wentz the chance to win the game. And obviously, sometimes he's not going to win the game. Obviously, example today, he didn't make the right throw, even though that catch by whatchamacallit, who was the one? Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. If Nelson Aguilar gets to that pass in the end zone, which honestly, if he would have turned around and would have gotten it,
he instead of going like this, if he just goes like this, he makes the catch.
And we got a tied ball game.
Exactly. We're talking about a completely different game.
There's a lot of and part of it is just the receivers. The right plays just didn't get caught.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that's also part of the defense of the Patriots.
They got him that play too. They made him throw on the back foot and everything. That was a really good defensive play by them too.
And if Mason Aguilar would have turned around instead of just going behind him like this, he would have just turned around and received the ball. That's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown. He was untouched. No one was there to stop him from doing it. He just bad route running at the end. Really what it was.
Yeah. But Carson Wentz goes 20 of 40, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 74 QPR. Again, it was more a defensive game where it was whose defense is going to stop the others and who's going to make the surprise play to win the game. And it was Julian Edelman.
Yeah. That's really what changed the whole game in the favor for the Patriots. And that was a really good throw too.
It was.
That was a dime that just right there for him. Oh man, listen, I just love seeing wide receivers just throw some absolute perfect throws. It just fires me up. Honestly.
Again, if the injuries as well, if Alshon Jeffrey can come back healthy, if Jordan Howard could find himself coming back healthy, those are two big pieces out of this Eagles offense that are missing.
Yeah, and if they come back, listen, I think they have 6 games, 5 games left. No, 6 games left in the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-5. If they end up going 11-5, we're talking about a team that easily competes for this division. Easily competes for this division because and this is the biggest thing that the Eagles had that over the Cowboys. The Eagles have one of the easiest schedules left in the rest of the year. The Cowboys have one of the hardest schedules of the rest of this year.
Yeah.
It's still a wide open division.
Yeah, so it's going to be a struggle going down the line. If the Cowboys can maintain that lead or the Eagles can win the rest of the games and we'll see them in the pro season. And what can they do with Alshon Jeffrey and Jordan Howard coming back?
I'll tell you this much. It's going to come down to week 16. Cowboys, Eagles at the Eagles at Philadelphia. That's going to determine the whole season. That game
is that a Sunday game?
That is a Sunday game. That is a 4:25 game.
All right,
December 22nd.
All right, so book it. December 22nd. We're going to do a live show for that game.
That works.
We're doing a live show for that game.
It works for me.
And I get to hear you in all your glory talk about how bad Dak Prescott is.
And I'm going to be miserable watching that game because my 2 division rivals.
It's a win-win for me.
You know what I hope in that game? I hope like the earth shakes and cancel the game and we just can't watch it and freaking
You hope they both tie.
The game's canceled, doesn't count. I don't gotta watch this shit. Oh man, I can't believe I'm freaking gonna have to sit there and watch the Eagles Cowboys play for the division.
Yep, buddy, we're doing a live stream. Book it now. December 22nd, people. We're gonna do a live stream. Eagles Cowboys. Both teams.
I'm wearing a Giants jersey.
And I'm gonna love every minute of it.
I'm wearing my Giants jersey. Oh my god.
Going back.
Oh, Giants are playing the Redskins. I'm gonna be happy. We might get a win. We might get a. Oh my god! If we lose that game, what time is that?
Listen,
game?
it's not possible. Everything is possible, man.
Bro, it's a 1:00 game. So when we come on, we're gonna know if they win or lose. If
Wayne Haskins gonna be playing.
If I come on the show and I'm blasted out of my mind, it's because the Giants just blew to the freaking Redskins. Oh my god!
But yeah, if the Eagles get Alshon Jeffrey back and Jordan Howard again, this could be a team that could be a root to reckon with.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
Extremely. They get those players back. Don't be surprised if the Eagles may actually make a sick run for the division. And if they get into the playoffs, don't be surprised if they're actually a team to be reckoned with in there.
Yeah,
Don't be
a team to be reckoned with. I kind of messed that up a little bit in my list, but that's fine. But yeah, Tom Brady. I hope to see him kind of improve a little bit. It's a couple of games he's just been, not the Tom Brady of old, and that could be of age, that could be this offense, but it doesn't scream to me a quarterback going to lead you to a championship.
No, it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it at all. Oh, great play by the Rams. Got it down to the 2-yard line.
Nobody cares. It's the Bears, man.
Listen, man, you got the Rams.
Speaking of a team that should have been, better than what they are.
It's the Rams.
Yeah.
Rams really should have been better than who they are. Really, but what do you? I mean, it's just a year of the flops, man. The year of the flops is really what it is.
So, Sergio, do you want to discuss Colin Kaepernick?
I don't mind if you don't.
All right. So let me start with this first. What are your thoughts on this Colin Kaepernick situation where he was called out of the blue to come do a workout? He goes to the workout. There's a disagreement, which we're going to talk about a little bit in the next couple of minutes. And he says, no, I'm going to this high school that I used to go to or whatever, and I'm going to play over there and get all my media over there, and we're going to do it over there. And if you want to come, you can come. If not, we'll just film it.
I understand that he wants his own media there. I understand that he wants to make sure the narrative of what's going on is the right narrative.
Right.
But at the same time, you also understand he had the potential of all 31 teams to be there. Only 8 teams were there. Yeah. And I've heard great things from the people that are there, that they posted on Twitter or they've commented on whatever, and I've seen videos. I've heard that I saw the video as well of him throwing, and he was throwing phenomenal in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my very little football knowledge opinion.
Yeah.
He looked phenomenal throwing it, and there were scouts there saying that his arm strength is still elite, his accuracy is still elite. He looks in phenomenal shape. If that's true, and if that's exactly what, after 3 years they're still saying this about the guy, this just proves that the NFL was blackballing the shit out of him. Honestly, this just proves that the NFL probably, or not just NFL, the NFL with the owners came together and said, no one signed this guy. That's really what it is proving, because you're telling me in the last, it's been 4 years that he hasn't played after this season. In the last 4 years, you're telling me every single quarterback that has touched the football field and played is better than Colin Kaepernick? I should spit in your face if that's true, because the guy, I can name you 4 quarterbacks off the top of my head that played in this week that Colin Kaepernick's better. And honestly, there's probably more. There's definitely more, but no team wants to hire him. You're telling me the Bengals they can't be better with him. You're telling me the Browns can't be better with him. You're telling me legitimately 5 other teams can't be better with Colin Kaepernick on that team. The Giants, the Jets. You seriously telling me those 2 teams can't be better with the experienced quarterback? It's not saying that those 2 teams are blackballing him, but there's so many teams out there that would improve with him at the helm. Just shows that they're blackballing the shit out of him all year, all of the last 3 years.
So, and as you said a lot, and there's some things I agree with, some things I don't. And let's start with the teams, right? Let's start with the teams. So we're saying that Colin Kaepernick should play in the NFL. I don't disagree. We're saying that his talent level should lead to him being in the NFL and at least getting a shot. At least getting a workout with the actual team, which is why I believe this whole entire thing was a sham to begin with, because of the fact that normally you would work out with a team.
Mm-hmm.
Routinely, you would work out with a team and they'll work out in their facility. That didn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you're right. That's normally what you would do.
Right. I'm glad I just pulled up this article here I wanted to see for a second. But going back to Colin Kaepernick, he has the talent level. That's never been a question if he could throw the ball. The question was how will he play against other teams and how will he play in this NFL, which is why it would have made more sense for him to play with an actual team, which didn't happen. Colin Kaepernick, if you forget that in his last 2 seasons, he was actually benched for Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
People forget that.
He had a bad last year. He had a very bad last season.
Yeah, he had a very bad last 2 seasons. He had his big rise. He comes in for Alex Smith, and he leads the 49ers to a championship Super Bowl contender, and they lose. And then they come back with Colin Kaepernick as a starter, and they go into the playoffs and they lose again, which is perfectly fine. It was his best years in the NFL. And since then, scoring from 2014 to 2016, it was a downhill slide. You've seen Colin Kaepernick progressively get worse and worse and worse to a point where we start talking about how if he's even a leader in the locker room. No, there was there was a quote from Vernon Davis when he got traded. He was saying he was among those sick of Kaepernick walking around team headquarters with the headphones all day. This is from CBS reported. In the 2014-2015 season. It led to 2016-2017 where he went 231 passes attempted, 196 completed. 2,241 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And that was in sorry, let me rephrase that. 2015-2016, Colin played horrible and was replaced by Blaine Gabbert. That's when it happened.
Yeah.
He played only 9 games until he was benched in week 6. Week 9, and he completed 59 passes, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 144 completed, 244 attempted. That was the beginning of the downslide, and the last season he played, he improved a little bit, only playing 12 games behind Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
Who was a backup to a backup at best.
That's at best. He shouldn't even have been on a team, to be honest with you.
So the reason why I'm saying all of this at the start is because we don't know how good Colin Kaepernick is. You're saying off the videos you've seen, it looks good. We're admittedly, me and you are not scouts, so we don't know how good Colin Kaepernick is. I think what issue with this is both sides wanted to control a narrative, and the fans that wanted to see a conclusion to this didn't get anything. No. They both want to control a narrative of saying I'm right, and we didn't get any closure. So we don't know how good Colin Kaepernick is, or just off video.
Do you agree that he's not going to get signed though?
I don't know, and that's the big issue, right? Because if he would have gone with this original meeting, maybe he would have gotten a shot. Maybe he still get a shot.
Maybe he still will.
No,
you never know. Yeah, you're right. You never know.
But the issue with this whole entire thing is there's no conclusion. There's no closure. There's nothing to say that this is the next move moving forward.
My whole argument is the fact that don't get me wrong, he had a very bad last couple year and a half.
Yeah,
I understand that, but you can't sit there and tell me right now, without a shadow of doubt in your mind, the Redskins wouldn't be a better team with him, that the Bears wouldn't be a better team with him, that the Dolphins wouldn't be a better team with him. You know, there's teams out there, the Bucs, with Jameis Winston. You tell me you're more confident with Jameis Winston than Colin Kaepernick. I'll tell you this much. If I was one of those 3-4 teams, I'd be the first one there and be like, you know what? What the hell do we have to lose? We suck already. Why the hell not? See, maybe this is the guy that we need in our team. For all we know, this is the guy that's going to lead us to the next big stretch of seasons that we have just played phenomenal. You don't know.
I want to go ahead.
No, just like you said, we don't know what he's going to be like. So these teams that are just so bad, what the hell do you have to lose?
I agree. My only thing is we don't know. That's the thing. We're only speculating when we talk about this. But his last season that he had, 2,000 yards, 2,241 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 12 games. He only played 12 games. Is that on the level of the quarterbacks of today? We talk about Phillip Rivers. Is Colin Kaepernick right now a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers? We don't know.
We don't know. We have no idea. But that's the thing, like you said, exactly like you said. We don't know how he would play at NFL speed. It has been 3-4 years since he's played at that speed. So we don't know. For all we know, he could be just as bad as he was when he left. He could be he could be even worse. He could be he could be as bad as Trubisky. He could be as bad as literally as Haskins. He could be one of those really bad quarterbacks. But like you said, we just don't know.
And I don't like seeing people look at the videotape that we've seen that from Colin Kaepernick and say this guy should be in the NFL. We don't know. There was no actual. He had his own receivers he was using to practice with.
No, I'm one of those people that think that he definitely should have at least a chance. He definitely should at least have a chance to show if he can still do it. Now, If you want to give him, if it was possible, give him a 6-game. Like say I'm the Dolphins, right? Mm-hmm. And they go, listen, you could give him a 6-game contract. I'll be like, okay, give him a 6-game contract. We have nothing to lose. Or if I was a Redskin, same thing. Just give him the Bengals, whoever, like these terrible teams. See if you could do it. See what you have. And if not, well, he's going at the end of this year. Who gives a shit? And we finally, and everyone, and if he is bad, he has to shut the hell up about this blackballing shit. Because then it's not because you got a blackball. It's because you suck. That's what it is. But I do believe, I want to feel like, give him a chance. There's enough teams out there that are really bad and look in need for the quarterback. Why not just see what you have here? The guy, if you're willing, if he's not asking a lot, if he's not going to be an expensive pickup, see what you have there and see what could get done. And for all you know, this guy could be the next good quarterback for you guys that could lead you to success. And if not, he's gone at the end of this offseason. At the end of the season, and he's gone.
Sergio, I want you to follow me through this process that I've been thinking about as we talk. That's why I'm a little bit discombobulated a little bit. In the 4 years, going into the 4 years that Colin Kaepernick has not been in the league, we have seen quarterback changes. We have seen draft picks picked up. We've seen prospects coming out of college that could be NFL ready right now.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about take the two all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's other quarterbacks in the draft. There's other quarterbacks, in the league right now where the teams that needed those positions, like the Ravens at one point that needed a quarterback, they kind of got them filled.
Yeah.
We've gone 4 years without Colin Kaepernick, and I think this is done maybe by the NFL, maybe by accident, but we've gone through times where who in the NFL do you see needs a Colin Kaepernick right now?
Bengals, the Dolphins, the Redskins, the
Washington already has invested in
Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. Is it time to get rid of Jameis Winston? That's a question we have to talk about.
He sucks. He has more interceptions and touchdowns in his career. He's terrible. Get rid of him. I'm on the board. Get rid of Jameis Winston. He's terrible. You
don't want to trade him. Get rid of Jameis Winston, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one. The Dolphins.
Yes.
Okay. Name another team.
The Bengals.
Andy Dalton. See, the thing about Andy
Dalton, I feel like they already went away from him because I feel like if they don't get Kaepernick, they're gonna get a draft pick. They're gonna get obviously the top draft pick. And originally it was gonna be Tua. After this big injury that happened yesterday, I don't know if that still is, but they're gonna draft a quarterback in this draft. They're 100% getting that.
And that's my thing, and that's why I just talk about this. I do maybe Tampa Bay's maybe a consideration. But maybe there's an NFL player in the league right now as a quarterback that may actually fit the mold for Tampa Bay. Maybe Cam Newton, we talking about getting a trade for. But my thing with this NFL is just the fact that the teams that are losing that need a quarterback, they're probably going to draft a quarterback.
The Bears is an example too. They're not going to have a crazy high. They're not going to have
Mitch Trubisky.
I think so. I think he's just.
I think he
regressed extremely. And I don't think it's Nagy's fault. I think Matt Nagy's a phenomenal coach. I think Trubisky is just a really bad quarterback. I think that's really what it is. And last year, they had a great year, and I thought he was improving as the years go on. But if you look at his whole season last year, it wasn't a phenomenal season. It wasn't eye-opening. It was literally a mediocre season.
Okay, so right now you're changing my whole entire my perspective on this because I thought originally that I think Colin Kaepernick should get an opportunity. I just don't see him starting anywhere. But now you're changing my perspective a little bit. You're saying that Colin Kaepernick could be a starter in the NFL right now
Uh,
over Mitch Trubisky, who's supposed to be
I
your quarterback supposed to be running with
I would
over.
I would rather start Kaepernick if I'm right now week 11 of the NFL and I'm the Bears
Yeah.
and what are my 4-5? Where are they right now? They're third in the division. They're not going to catch the division. They're not going to catch the wild card. They're basically out of it completely.
Uh-huh.
If I could get Kaepernick relatively cheap, I would honestly be like, you know what, just I'm putting him in there because number one, I have no faith in Trubisky at all. I lost complete faith in him. What the hell do I have to lose with starting Kaepernick? Oh, I'm going to get bad publicity. I don't give a shit. You know
Well,
what?
it's not even just that. We're talking about quarterbacks who are young and who you invested in a draft.
Yeah.
So I don't think you get rid of Mr. Trubisky like that because you invested in him.
Yeah, but
Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
what have you gotten? He hasn't played great last year. He's playing terrible this year.
he got you to a playoff spot.
No, last year what got you to a playoff spot was the fact that the defense was just an amazing defense, and Trubisky just did enough to not lose you the game. That's what got them there. Trubisky's not a great quarterback. I did think going into this year he was going to improve to show signs of becoming a good quarterback. It hasn't come to that. He's been playing terrible. He's not going to be a good quarterback at all, in my opinion. I think it's if the Bears are smart, not saying get Kaepernick, but they need to get another quarterback this year somehow. And even if it's not Kaepernick, I think Cam Newton would be a phenomenal fit for them. I think they just need a new quarterback in general. And if you're going through the draft, then I would understand keeping Trubisky one more year and letting the draft pick sit behind and just learn the speed. If not, you want to go throw him into the fire, okay. But I really think that within this year, if you're getting an outside quarterback like Newton, like Kaepernick, or if it's you're going through the draft, within the next 2 years, Trubisky can't be your starting quarterback. Unless next year, if he just has a phenomenal year where he's an MVP candidate. That's a different story. But if it's the same thing that we're seeing now, he cannot be this quarterback at all.
See, you say that in my brain is how I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking about investing. I'm thinking about Mr. Trubisky. You invested in him as a draft pick. He's going into his third year, going into his fourth year next season. Last season before, he led your team. Whether you think it's all on defense or whether you think it's because he managed the game, he got your team to a playoff spot. This season, he dealt with a couple of injuries, so maybe that has to do with it. I don't think he can get rid of Mr. Trubisky. And I'm just thinking about the quarterbacks in the league, and I'm thinking, maybe the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are going to pick somebody in the draft probably. So my brain is just like the quarterbacks right now who are young prospects, like you say Washington as well. Dwayne Haskins is only his first year. There's so much progression needs to be done. I just don't know if Colin Kaepernick comes straight into the league and just takes over as a starter. Because there's so many other teams that you already have that already invested in the quarterback.
Not saying he signs today, he starts tomorrow. No.
Okay, all right.
I think that
he deserves a shot.
You telling me if he say he signs with the Bears tonight after the game he signs, and he just has a phenomenal practice all week.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me they're not thinking about it? They're not.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a shot. My only thought was, who does he come in against? Who did he go with?
Oh yeah, I understand that he needs the proper system and the proper organization to pick him up for him to be successful. I completely agree, and I don't think that every spot is proper for him. Yes,
and maybe my brain is sorry to cut you off. And maybe my brain is just the fact that I'm stuck on Colin Kaepernick being a starter because he has so much publicity on Colin Kaepernick as he's built himself up. He's been built up to be the superstar and the starter.
Mm-hmm.
He's maybe just the bench, coming off the bench as a second quarterback.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all.
I think the narrative, and I'm going to change my narrative as well. I think the narrative shouldn't be him being a starter. I think it should be him being a potential a backup.
I'm not saying I think he just should be signed by a team.
Okay,
Yeah.
we both agree on that part.
He deserves to be at least given a shot to fight for that starting spot. Not to say he gets it off the bat. No.
Yes. Okay.
But he deserves a shot to have at least give him a full week of practice with the team. See what you have. If he's still not it, that's fine. But at least you're giving him that full week or that opportunity to show off if he is or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we both come to the same agreement is that he should get a chance.
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe at best he's a backup quarterback, but probably he'd be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
I completely agree with you. I completely.
Any final thoughts on this whole workout, you want to call it, how it all came together?
I feel like we got most of it covered, and we got both our sides out there, and we may disagree in minor details, but overall, I think me and you agree for the most part. I think we're both in agreement with that.
I will say to anybody that wants to know more about Colin Kaepernick, there's a great article called "Inside the Waiver" proposed by the NFL to Colin Kaepernick, which was, at the original spot, Colin Kaepernick was giving a document for him to sign, and it basically would have waived off all of his rights as a player to any injuries he would have faced during the workout would have been all on him, would have not be responsible of the NFL. And B, that him participating in the workout would absolve NFL of any collusion.
See, I don't agree with that. You can't sign that. And it's a good thing he didn't sign it. It's smart of him.
No, it's great of him because if he would have signed that, if he would have done that workout, it would have been, you worked out, but we gave you an opportunity. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that way, they would have a legal reason to blackball him.
Yep, completely right.
So. That is the one thing about that whole workout that again it screams to me a sham, and it was just a save face, and it was just a narrative. And again, we Colin Kaepernick got his narrative out. The NFL tried to get their narrative out. As a fan, you don't get any closure to what is going to happen next.
No, we don't know. It's literally just we're left kind of just
in the wind.
Yeah, really, that's exactly what it is.
So we hope to see some progress going forward. Maybe. A team like the Dolphins, meet with him and they work something out.
There definitely is at least 3 or 4 teams, in my opinion, that should at least consider, like you said, working him out. Maybe just bring him in, see how he would work with this team. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Like you said, we don't know what he could bring to the team.
All right, let's get off Colin Kaepernick. Hopefully, we'll see some progress. Before we get out of here, talk about the standings for a second. AFC East. New England's number 1, 9-1. Bills 7-3. Jets 3-7. Miami 2-8. AFC North. Ravens 8-2. Steelers 5-5. Browns 4-6. Bengals 0-10. With the only team without a win. Go Raiders. AFC South. Colts win 6-4. Texans 6-4. Titans 5-5. Jags 4-6. AFC West. Chiefs 6-4. Raiders 6-4. Right up in there. Chargers 4-6. Broncos 3-7. NFC East. Dallas 6-4. Philly 5-5, Giants 2-8, Washington 1-9.
Go Giants! There you go.
Packers 8-2, Minnesota 8-3, Bears 4-5, Lions 3-6-1. NFC South, Saints 8-2, Panthers 5-5, Falcons 3-7, Tampa Bay 3-7, and lastly 49ers 9-1, Seahawks 8-2, Rams 5-4, Cardinals 3-7-1. Sounds about right, Sergio?
Yep, sounds about right.
All right, what do you think about today's show?
I actually like it.
I like the Sunday show.
I do like it too. I like being able to watch the game, talk to you about football. It's fun. It's definitely something I would do again.
Yeah, we may talk about it later on and discuss this, but I think it was a good show.
I think it was a great show, yeah. It was a fun time, especially right after these games too.
It's fresh in your minds too. Yeah. All right, Sergio, any last words before you log out of here?
Nope. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did.
I agree, man. And last thing I will say is go Raiders. We're 6-4. We're swing the axe, baby. Swing the axe. We're almost there.
Oh, I gotta go Chiefs.
Signing off. My name is Tyree Simon.
My name is Sergio Marquez.
And this has been Play Action. See you next week, guys.
Have a good day, guys.